Hi everyone, I thought I'd do a quick update video on that egg that I CT scanned, that maybe dino egg. Opinions have been kind of split between it's an egg and it's not an egg, and I've had quite a few questions about can we create a 3D model from the egg and also from the bones that are maybe inside the egg. Firstly, this is definitely a big maybe, because ideally you want to have the egg at a stage where it's just about to hatch, so the bones are really visible, but it's a spectrum from being really runny to being almost a complete dinosaur, or being a complete little baby dinosaur, and we could have the egg at any stage in that. And obviously if it's somewhere in the middle, you're going to have some shapes, but they're not going to be quite bones. Several people asked if I can create a 3D model using the scan, and yes you can. So what I've got here is a model of the egg on screen over here. And you can see very nicely, where the cracks are, and what that's done is it's create the 3D model from the top, the front, and the side view over here. And what you can do then, and what I've tried to do, is actually highlight some of the shapes inside there. So what we can do is we can remove the outer egg surface, and what we've got over here are some of the larger elements I could see. So I mean, if you use your imagination, maybe it's some of the larger, the pelvis kind of area of what would eventually be a little dinosaur. But yeah, it's very much we need some higher resolution, I think. So a micro CT is probably the next step in this eggs journey. I know Otago University has got a micro CT scanner, so I'll get in touch with them and see if they can help us out with the scan of this. But yeah, basically what I've got here is the two larger elements. So if you look here in the bottom left, what I've done is I've gone through, and you have to manually just kind of, so if I go to this one, the purple one, and you have to just manually highlight where you see the shape over there. You can initially do it with automatically, but then you have to come and clean it up usually. And this is what I did to some of my other fossils, and you see how blurry the shapes are in here, which tells me that whatever's in here is either not very well formed, or something we need some higher resolution over here, because it's such a small, the egg is only about that size. So micro CT is perfect for that, where you need to get really high detail of small elements like that over there. I've had a look at some of the scientific papers out there, and this is a really well formed baby dinosaur in a similar shaped egg to what we've got over here. And you can see there's, like we saw in the scan, you can see this is kind of where the spine would be, and we kind of saw something similar in that egg, where the spine is over there with a larger element in the middle. So if you look at that shape over here where the pelvis is and the skull on the left hand side, let's go back to this. I mean, so is the yellow one the pelvis and the purple one is part of the skull? We can't tell from the scan. If you want to play around with these files, send me an email and I'll send you a link to the files. They're only about 50 or 60 megabytes, and you can download 3D Slicer for free and have a look at the scans over here. So yeah, you can have a play around there for yourself. So if I just let me just switch them both off, and I'll take you back to that area we saw on this view. So you've got a big shape on this side, and you've got a larger shape on that side, which is kind of what you would expect to see. You've got a larger shape and another big shape next to it. This is another image from the same paper. I'll put the name of the paper on screen now. You can see you've got the purple, the pelvis area, and then the yellow, the skull. You've got the longer straight leg bones in between. And I mean, if you use your imagination, so we've got a large straight bone over here, and we've got two larger shapes next to it. So yeah, not enough information here, and I don't know, even with a micro CT scan we might not get enough information if these bones weren't well formed. People that know more about how eggs turn from the runny egg into the actual animal will probably be able to talk about the calcium deposits and things that turn into bones. Actually, if we actually have a dinosaur over here, I think we're somewhere in the middle. So not quite a runny egg, not a fully formed dinosaur, somewhere in the middle where, you know, the bones are these little calcium deposits and they're starting to take shape. I'll show you another scan from that same CT scanner machine that Leighton did for us. This is of that unknown species of turtle skull, and I'll just need to change the contrast level. Okay, let's look from the top down of this turtle skull. So immediately you can see much better definition of the bone as we're going through it. So this is that very large turtle skull, and over there you can even see the nasals. So this is what you would expect. The rock is showing up as this grey color and the bone is showing up as this nice and bright white color, so we've got really good contrast between the rock and the bone, and that's ideally what you want. And this concretion was much thicker than that egg. This is a much bigger concretion and we're getting such good detail from it. And here's that same CT scan, and Andrew Cuff has created a really nice model of the skull. Go check out his YouTube channel. He does awesome fossil hunting and prepping in the UK. I'll put a link up on screen now. But yeah, this is from a CT scan, and look at the detail you can get there. See all the internal bone structure, because this bottom part of the skull is actually still covered in rock. Yeah, look at those eyes, and there's that bite mark over there. And here's the original turtle skull. You can see it's still covered in rock at the bottom here, you know, and filled in over there with rock. And here's the CT scan that's been turned into a 3D model. And now you can see all the cool structures inside there. What I thought was where the brain went. So I used to think the brain went in here, but those are actually the jaw muscles there, and the brain goes in that tiny hole inside there. Yeah, so this has been 3D printed on this really cool Elegoo, I think it's the Neptune 4 Max 3D printer, and I've been super happy with it. I did a video on it a while back, and it's been printing for like 2 years now. And what's nice is it can print up to 1/2 meter in size. So for the big moa bones and things like that, it can print it really well. Yeah, CT scanners are super useful for fossils. So if you have access to a micro CT scanner and you're in the South Island of New Zealand, please get in touch. And also, if you want to have a look at the files yourself, you can just download them. Email me at mamlambofossils@gmail.com and I can send you a link to these files. They're only like 50 megabytes and the software is free. And then you can have a look, see if you can find any other bones that you can reconstruct in there. I've also got this little bird skull that I'm working on, busy prepping. It's a bit of a surprise because when I found the concretion, there was something sticking out, which I thought could have been a barnacle, but turns out it's a really complete bird skull. And it's in really good shape, except for this weird pyrite layer that's over the top. So the prepping is quite tricky. I'm actually prepping it under the microscope, so I can see, because the bone and the rock are actually the same color. So you can't just go by the color change, you actually have to look at the texture. Super fun little prep this. But how cool are dinosaur eggs? Hopefully I can find one of my own one day here in New Zealand. Or if you found something that looks like a dinosaur egg and it's not a concretion, and you found it in New Zealand, please get in touch. I'd love to have a look at some photos of it. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next hunt.